You have people in a Jamaica, 70-year-old, 80-year-old, will sit down. And even though things are go bad with them, like how she feels to them kill her son, because even though she didn't talk about Jesus, you know, she still tell me about science kill her son, you know. That is all. That's the confusion when a black people mind about this thing, you know. Because you have people talk about Jesus in one time, some go wrong with them not go talk about Jesus again, and go to Obia, man. Long time, long before Christianity, long before you did have, you know, in the same place what we call Iran, Iraq, them places they create opposites. But the rationale about Satan, even when you reach Job and them mention Satan, because in a Job first it's Satan, the word come up. Satan play a great part in a for sure how strong Job was. And that story now symbolize a certain faith in God. That even though this man got through all a certain thing, it symbolizes how him faith stronger than the desires of the world. And you have a next story with the man named Jesus to when him go up to the mountain after 40 years, him in the wilderness. And them say Satan come to him, the devil come to him and tempt him. And him overcome that. But man construct Satan like say Satan is something other than himself. We are tell you say Satan, the idea of the devil is a human construct. It have nothing to do with nothing outside a human being because only human being have that thinking there. No other creature upon earth think about devil.
None.
Likewise, God. So what we have now is that man have a fight in himself. There's a fight, a struggle, what we call between good and evil. And the good and evil is man represent that. There's no good and evil outside a man. All concepts of good and evil come from man, action and reaction to either himself or to things or people, place and things that surround him in an environment. So King James was one of the chief superstitious person when it come on to killing people because them don't fall in line with the ideas and concepts of Christianity. And we see that now with the Muslim, the Islam, the people that will call themselves ISIL, that they are so fundamentalist, extreme. They are so extreme, just like the Christians of old. Because I always hear them talk about the extreme, and we see the extremity, you know, we see the vicious and the cruelty, you know. But them now do nothing different from what the Christians them used to do. These people, because we are living at this time, you know, white looks so. When we see that on TV, and we can see it on TV as it happen, because the man has shoot exactly where I do, on the TV with a knife in his hand. And the man, hold the knife over the man and start, right, make everybody talk about it because it's so vicious. And nothing different from what Christians do. And even in our times, when them look at our foreparents, in the name of Jesus, and throw it overboard, in the name of Jesus, them tie up our ancestors between two arms and beat the ass till before parents, the hand them just pop out. One hand gone or one hand gone so. The lynching, what them do in the name of Jesus. Slavery done in the name of Jesus. And you still have black people who will die in the name of Jesus because they want to be washed with the blood of the Lamb in the name of Jesus. And you can't tell them nothing.
Nothing at all.
The man listen to me so no one a vex and a puff up. Because them can't say that these thinking have nothing to do with an external force that is deciding that if you do this, you're going to burn. And if you do this, you're going to get a gold shoes. If you do this, your head going to get cut off. Or if you do this, you're going to get 72 virgin in heaven. It has nothing to do with nothing outside of human being. It's human being that is deciding these things for other human beings. Madness. And if you don't fall in line, them blow up themselves and blow up 100 people. Them put bomb in a plane and bring down plane. Them take armies and go in other people's country and kill people in the name of Allah, in the name of Jesus. So you saw it go now, that these people, them create the politics, you know. It's them create politics. That's why I get scared when I hear the Prime Minister say, shall wait upon the master to touch her, because I get scared now. I get scared when I hear the Prime Minister say, shall wait upon the master and to touch her. Because what else will the master do that will inspire her or influence her to do? Because I have seen, and history can bear me out, that whenever people wait on the master to decide, make them have a decision. We see what go on in Syria now. We see where the Americans them go in Iraq go do in the name of God. We see where the crusade do, and it go on and on and on and on and on because the master touch them. Mama P, you have me scared, Rasta. You have me scared when me hear Prime Minister say, them are wait for the hand of God, the master. Can me understand where that do in a history? We have to learn from history. You know? If we don't learn from history, we go and repeat it. We have to learn from it. That's why the Jews them say, watch out, never again. And up to this day, them are hunt down all of the Nazi them, whether you are 190 a day, them go hunt you down and find you and carry you to the court in a Hague and charge you for crimes against humanity. And what we see as right now, it's not far from the door, you know. I cannot decide why right now, Jamaica, most of the people them are Christian. We don't like Christian, you know, because you know much Christian them kill in Nigeria there. You know much Christian the guys them slaughter 200 children. Me watch it, you know, me watch it. Them line up 200 of them and just shoot all of them like them head. In the name of Allah. Allah Akbar, them like boom, 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 200 man dead. Because them say them are Christian. Them go bomb up a place in a Beirut and say, them are Shiite. Them, even though them are same Arab, they must say, what you know, it's not the same Arab, you know. You must be the same religion, and not only the same religion, you know. And so extremist them is, you know. You must not only be the same religion, but you must practice religion like how we practice it. And that did not go on in Europe, you know. You can't just be a Christian in Europe, you know. You must be a Roman Catholic. And if you're not if you're a Christian, that's why them break away, you know. That's why you have Anglican Church in England and you have Roman Catholic Church. The Anglican Church is a breakaway by Henry VIII. We keep repeating the same thing. We then break away, Henry VIII break away and farm his own thing. Anglican Church. Because I realized that when I did want to marry him, concubine, and I couldn't get married to her because the Pope said no. And I say, hey, well, me want to marry to her, you know, so you want to know. I no more Roman Catholic, you know. I just go farm my Anglican. So the Anglican Church become the Church of England. And where them say, the royal house must not married to a Roman Catholic. A Christian, them do this, you know. If you is a Christian, it's all right. But you know, you have to practice the same kind of Christianity when you practice. Then that's when them the little daughter. The little daughter down at the school. She don't same day, you know. I mean, she don't Jehovah's Witness, you know. But them say Jehovah's Witness because them pass through Jehovah's Witness. The church, the school say, look here, you can't hold a big position on that, so you know. You have to, even though Jehovah's Witness are Christian, but you have to be the same kind of Christian like we. And that's right there, you know. You have to be the same kind of Christian like we. It no matter, you could have worship God and have pray to God a little more. And at Jesus Christ you deal. If you don't talk about Jesus Christ like how we talk about Jesus Christ, we don't have nothing with you. And at that the Muslims them must say, the Islamic people them must say, the ISIL people them must say, watch out. Me, I worship a certain way. You see, if you not do that way there, you could have ball out Allah barley when me kill you same way. It's not a new phenomenon going on, you know. It's just that right now the Christian them now do it that you can't see it. But them are do it still. Them are do it still. The way thing the Ku Klux Klan is. The Ku Klux Klan is a set of man who feel to them a Christian, you know, we say, them don't like homosexuals, them don't like blacks, and them don't like Jews. And what happen? Them pray every day. They pray every day. Them is Christian. And them will kill you. Them don't like black people. Them treat the black people are not human being. It's like Hitler. Hitler never come with no religion, but Hitler decides to watch out. You see me, you know? Me now make them people, they call themselves Jews, who is not even real, pure white people, come take over the economy of my country. No. And you know what? Hitler was elected democratically, you know. Hitler never rise to war through war. He never rise to power through war. You know, it's through a process. When me hear Bunting say, he must wait for a divine intervention to stop the crime rate in Jamaica, me get scared. Me get scared. Me don't know about the next person, about me, because me don't like the idea of a group of people coming together and tell me, say, when them do something, it's God make them do it. Because they know when them do something bad, them are going to say, you know, so the devil terrible. Look what the devil make me do. And them are do it. So they must absolve themselves from human actions, human thinking, and human perception. Them don't want to take responsibility for them action. A man go out there and say, boy, the devil's strong, you know. You know, so me never want box her down. I'm woman, him a talk about, you know. Me never want box her, you know. And him start to bawl in front of him, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry, you know. And she say, all right, I'm sorry. And then the next week, they him coming back to her again. But him not take responsibility for it. And the devil make him do it. Blame the devil. And in the name of God, me I go chop off your head. You can't tell him same wrong. Because him have a feeling say God love him when him do that. When him tie on a bomb on himself and blow up 100 people in a market. Him go get 72 virgin when him go up there. What the hell him go do with 72 virgin up there? Who him know go up there go get 72 virgin and come back come tell him say, boy, you want me get 72 virgin and I'm going to tell me could I work with you know. Because by that time, I didn't really want Viagra, and them never tell you, if you tie on bomb, you're going to get 72 virgin plus Viagra. So you have to go start figure out now, okay? Maybe I should have asked them if Viagra in heaven. Because 72 virgin up there, and we can't manage 72. But if we did have Viagra up there, we could have managed them. Them skip out something, them should have tell you, 72 virgin plus couple pack of Viagra. But where we have now, Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. This is some Trinidadian from the television. I tell you, say, boy, right now, them come down there for come fight for ISIL. Some Trini a fight for ISIL in Syria. A long time, I tell them, say, ISIL infiltrate Trinidad, you know, but I never want to listen to you enough. And last year, I tell them, say, I want to leave ISIL down there. Don't leave ISIL down. Why you think, say, Jamaica, who always follow everything and who always create everything. Why you think, say, it's scary, you know?
You're listening to the
why you think, say, ISIL will reach at Jamaica?
Like, comment, share and subscribe.
Why you think, say, that's not possible? You think, so we're in a cocoon where we're not vulnerable to certain things? And chickpea catch you the other day. And we still don't know who bring it on here. Jamaican people, you say the religion is the worst thing that is happening right now to black people. The religion that we come on here, so come imitate. The religion will come on here, so come put in our thinking, our consciousness, and feel it will help you and save you. And a years now it there and it not do nothing for it. No. It not do nothing for it. Now we see politics. Now we see guys now. Where we did hopes and everybody that go happen, we see it start up now. Where casualties is now there. Where green, orange. Man are dead young up colors now. Again. We think we did part of that, you know, but you see the people them in a such ignorance, you know. That meanwhile them guide up that said, no, we don't really want no violence and things. Even though them have said that, them have said things out of their mouth to instigate violence. When you listen to these politicians, it's instigate violence. And if I did up on the radio say certain things, them would have want to take me off of the radio and sue radio station and this and lock down radio station and that. Every time one of them politicians open their mouth, they might instigate violence against the next person, against the next party. Every time. If you listen to all of them meeting, them are the people them, the ignorant black people them in the crowd, who is not educated enough and is not informed enough. When them hear something up there, so, oh gosh, man. All you see them are going, them know what them are doing, you know. The politicians, them know what them are doing. Divide and rule. And that them are work with. Divide and rule. And the whole of them, most of them get credence to the white man religion, Christianity. White people bring that come here, so. Come show we. So there's a man named Jesus. We're going to help we. No care what. No care how much poor and sufferation. Hey, may I tell you, advertisement? All right. You know, say, I have a little joke. It's not even a joke, you know, that's serious thing, you know, but you know, say I should have called her, you know. But at the Ganja Festival the other day, and a little old lady come to me. She say, I 70-year-old. Really that tear down the place. I couldn't get to go down there to talk to her. So I sit down up there and I wait. When I go down there, I see this little old lady sit down with a whole heap of bag. So she come to talk to me. So she said to me, you know, say, I come to talk to you because I think you can help me. So I said, what? She said she used to sell ganja. Long time she used to smoke ganja from Westmoreland to Kingston. Go sell ganja at Kingston. I say, yeah man, she and her son used to plant ganja. But them science our son. So I said, what do you mean science our son? Your son. She said, well, a Dr. Montego Bay, them kill our son. So I said, what do you mean Dr. Montego Bay kill your son? She said, well, what happens is that them diagnose the son with cancer. Some say them diagnose the son with cancer. Why you feel say a science kill him? She say, look here, man. Look here, man. Me did have one ganja book. And the ganja book, a man come at the yard, come take it away. And that ganja book could have made me make some money. Because it have some things in there where we could have really rent the book. And she got along to her, but you know, she said to the doctor, now she said, so what the doctor do down at the thing? She said, our relative who's a nurse come from foreign and go down at the hospital. And the doctor take some scissors and cut some wrong tripe in her son and kill her son. Me say, so what it have to do with the book? She said, yeah, a man named John come take away the book. And she now come to me now because them call the doctor name on the radio. And she think the doctor is down there that me now would have hear the doctor and talk to the doctor down at the place. So me say, ma'am, you know, say, me never listen to the radio when them call the doctor the name on the radio. She say, yes. You listen, me say, me no listen to the radio all the while, you know, so me couldn't know. Some men like they talk now, me like an idiot now. I mean, like, I kid you not. You know, say, me know about two brethren in my life. Me know two brethren in my life with the name Jesus. I mean, seriously, the name Jesus. One a Montego Bay and one a Kingston. Jesus, anytime you used to live a Montego Bay. I want to yell up Jesus, you know, from Montego Bay. Everybody know Jesus a Montego Bay. All right. In the course of reason with the woman say, well, you know, say, I must get back my book, you know. I must get back my book. Because Jesus did the yard and him take care of me. Jesus always take care of me. He hear me like a big idiot to do bad now. So why not make Jesus talk to John and bring back the book and go find out the doctor who you say kill your son? The woman stop him out. The woman stop him out a minute and I look at my face, you know. That means I said, when I said to her though, she said, Muta, you go on, man. You see, Jesus live with me and him take care of me every day. Yeah, me still like a big idiot now. Because me I think say somebody I yard named Jesus. Like how me no man who named Jesus. Me say, Mama, let me tell you something now. It don't make sense to come to me now. I better you ask Jesus to find the brother who take away the book and then go down a Montego Bay. Make Jesus go down a man. You do man no? Muta, you can go and run joke. But you see, my Lord and Savior. You see, when she say my Lord and Savior, don't appear laughing me, then father, you know. You say, Baba, I tell you God truth, you know. Me never mean for ridicule. Not the way I say, no, but me never know, say, I say, Jesus, there, she said, Jesus, they are yard, and Jesus, I take care of her. Me really think so was a man, there yard, named Jesus. Anyway, the reason why I say that, you know, is to say this, that you have people, like that little lady, you know, which is 70 a day old, where used to run her ganja thing. She can't do it anymore. Because she get old now, she can't plant the ganja and them kill her son. You have people in a Jamaica, 70 a day old, 80 a day old, will sit down. And even though things are go bad with them, like how she feels to them kill her son, because even though she didn't talk about Jesus, you know, she still tell me about science kill her son, you know. That's the confusion when a black people mind about this thing, you know. Because you have people talk about Jesus in one time, some go wrong with them not go talk about Jesus again, and go to Obia man. Whole heap of people in Jamaica have more faith in the Obia man than faith in Jesus when things gone bad with them, you know.
Very true. So true.
Because you take them out of Africa, but you don't take Africa out of them, you know. So even though them get, it's like a Santeria. It's like Santeria hold them, you know, where the Santeria use European Christian images for mask on them altar. Them have like the cross, crucifix and all them thing there. But and they know them have all the herbs and all them something there on the altar and them thing there. If you go in at 18 now, you see the obia, the voodoo, on the altar, you see a cross. You could also see a poor picture too. That is how them run the thing. But
Serious
The,
thing.
the thinking of black people about this King James philosophy where the devil, you're going to hold the devil and put him in a place for 1,000 years and bind him and then you're going to let him go. And then now the judgment are going to start on the people them. And all who, I mean, the woman they know, the woman they have this thing in her so much, you know, it's not help her, you know. It's not helping her one thing. To tell me, say, Jesus they are yard and I take care, you know. It's not helping her because she said it's not help her. Because she still has say, them science her son, and them still talk about say she can't find a doctor. And she come to me who don't know Jesus. And I don't know what she and Jesus are doing her yard at night time. She said she sleep with Jesus, you know. I said, Mama, you sleep with Jesus? She said, yes. I sleep with Jesus and him take care of me. And I said, but how am I take care of you have so much problem? Oh, you cannot sleep with a man where, I mean, me and I have some deep reason about Jesus, you know, and it's long after me I go realize and Jesus Christ she talk about. I mean, so how can we in this thinking for how much years now, in and out of the thinking, and with grandparents them come and believe in it, and them just dead, poor, and we are things say, well, you know, the riches of the world is nothing. We have to really prepare for the next life. Which next life we not talk about? Which next life? And then them say, well, I tell you, the wages of sin is death. The wages of sin is death, and the gift of God is eternal life. And them I tell you that, you know, them I read King James Bible and I tell you these things, you know. And when you look on the poverty-stricken Jamaican black people, and you're looking at the crowd, when the politicians them with them green cloth and the politicians them with them orange cloth, hold up them hand and I say, power TLP, PNP. When you're looking at the crowd, appear poor people.
True.
Poor people that have no house, them not own no business, them not own no house. Some of them can't even fit, I mean, them clothes look away, them not no teeth at them mouth. I mean, it's some terrible looking people you look on, you know, black people. Hold on these people. And then you hear the Prime Minister come tell you, say, she never tell you say she call an election. Who tell you say me tell you, me hear upon the TV. I did not tell anybody that I was calling. What a terrible people them. Told you never hear she said. She said, I tell you to say I call an election. Who no hear me utter in my mouth say me I call an election this year? And you know what? It's true she talk. It's true she talk and she never tell nobody. So she call an election this year. But guess what? Them prepare to call the election until something happen between them. Them have to draw back. But even though she never tell nobody, the signs and wonders was there. So when them really tell you, you know, say, oh, no idiot. Is a Damian Crawford effect catch your people them. Is a Damian Crawford effect PNP use for the people them when them talk about. I never call no election. I never told them to call election. But guess what? I'm going to behave like me I call election. I trick the people them. It's a terrible thing. Terrible thing. Terrible thing. And now we see the people them are kill one another. Kill one another again. How long black people are going to sit down and make politician and preacher have in this quagmire of nastiness, this quagmire of cruelty, and then turn around and talk about Satan and devil and devil and devil. No devil not do nothing round here. And I that them want to tell them to the people them have devil, the people them. No devil not doing nothing round here. And the people them are turned against themselves because them get influenced by politician and preacher. The politician them right now, the preacher them on Sunday, devastate them thinking and them consciousness. May I tell you, man, it's evil, man, evil. And we see it spread now. We see it spread. Because them ISIL people there, in the name of freedom God and politics, I kill people, I behead people. And we see that happen years ago, 400 years ago, 500 years ago, in Europe. And we see them go to Africa, or kill whole heap of African in the name of Jesus. And then bring away Anya in the name of Jesus. And when we go to Ghana, we see the two churches in front of the dungeon. And our ancestors, women, naked, in a dungeon, with no window. And on top of that, the people them keep church service. Oh gosh, man. Them stand up on the slave ship and underneath the ship, in the bow of the ship, them pack with ancestors like sardine. And on top of the ship, them have opened them Bible. And I thank God for the bounty that them get. Oh gosh, man. You know the problem with it? The problem with it is that meanwhile, black people in them religion, everybody else are move forward. Everybody else are move forward. So them use religion to pacify way economically, politically, socially, spiritually. Them use religion to do it. And then them come with them political ideology, democracy. Because all the things them were control way was created. The philosophy of most of the things them were old fast, you know, was created by the people them were oppressed way.
Oppressors.
Democracy, Christianity, as it was taught in the Western world here, is part of the strategy where them don't adhere to. Look on where them are going with. Them don't adhere to it. Them don't adhere to it. Them start war in the name of them things. Black people now left them country and go to them country go start no war. Every day, black people learn to kill black people. Other people kill everybody else, including black people. Black people kill black people. They have a place named Chicago, them call it now Chirac. A Chirac, them call Chicago now. The way Chirac stay as now is that the amount of people who are gun killing are going in Iraq, Chirac, Chicago. We are going out. And mostly black people are doing it. And then when you look on the police killing them in America, black people are get dead by white people are kill them. Most of the youth them are dead from police killing, and white people kill them. Black people. And when you look on Jamaica in the top 5 most murderous countries in the world. And who are kill black people? No, black people. Black people are kill black people. White people are kill black people. Arab are kill black people. Arab are kill white people. White people are kill Arab. And everybody are kill black people. I tell you. Included black people. You can't imagine that. White people are kill black people, Arab are kill black people. I mean, all Chinese are kill black people, but Chinese are kill black people in a more underground little way, you understand? But everybody are kill black people, even black people are kill black people. But we don't kill nobody because we're religious. We're very religious. You know see? It's a terrible thing. I say, I mean, how much more? I mean, we see the thing in front of we. And we say the thing now work. And we keep on doing the same thing the same way all the while and expect to get a different result.
Same result, yeah.
We need to do something different. Return to our ancestral legacy. Redefine ourselves. Get out of them way of seeing the world. Not because them decide the logics. It means it must be logical for you. Because we realize that all of them thinking is to sustain them. So what am to we? How long African people are going to fight African people for where white people teach them?
Question.
We are going to go to heaven. We're going to heaven. Meanwhile, black people are waiting to go to heaven. They might inherit everything from the earth and a thief the land, take away the land from where, and I build up them this and I build up them that. If the world is not going to end, how come the man look forward for new things and new ideas to make life? Man, I'm a plan for y'all go to Mars and all them way there. In case anything happens to the earth, them can't go back, them can't go to Mars because them say it look like life can't sustain for Mars and all. Meanwhile, we down here so I wait for God heaven and I talk about the next. When we're dead, what's going to happen? How the hell we are talking about when we're dead? What happened to this life? It's a terrible thing, you know.
Terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing. It's like a man that talk about two heads better than one. And if two heads better than one, that means that God don't know what him did that do. To make man with one head. If you put two heads together, you're supposed to have a better result. We must think. Man, I talk about sunrise and sunset and the earth, the four corners of the earth. And them are impose for them understanding from we and we sup it in without even think. When them talk about four corners of the earth, how them get four corners? Because them think that the world is flat. We know that the world is flat. But we still maintain this talk. Just like how we say we are West Indian. As African people, we say West Indian. But we don't see nothing wrong. People tell you, say, boy, muta, what kind of thing that? Then that don't make no difference to nothing. Add up the whole of them. One cocoa full up the basket. You know the greatest part of our window is the hole in it. The greatest part of the basket is the part where have no weave. Because that's how everything will go in there. The greatest part of the window is the space between the window. So when man I tell you, say, it don't make a difference, you know, them little things there. The little things them that make the big things happen and work.
True. One cocoa.
The little things make the big things happen and work. And if you go and don't realize the divinity of man must be exposed through his action and the goodliness that he perform to him fellow human being. That is the divinity where man should all look for and expose. You must expose the divinity in you. Because that is where you have your brains. You have your brains. I hear Tracy Chapman say, all that we have is our soul. I'm going to play a tune later. But I want to go forward with this Satan concept and the idea of this Satan. After we go round and go round, we're going to come right round to this now. So I want you to take a listen to this documentary here. Because we're going to try to find a documentary in the little archives where we have to really coincide or put together with all the events where we say take place around here now, with the ISIL thing, with the invasion of Iraq, with the guys them we just we shut up the place today. That is a normal thing now in America, common thing in America here right now. The enemy within. The enemy within. When they thought that the enemy was outside, is the enemy within. Which part you think the divinity there is within you? Which part you think the badness there and the cruelty and the wickedness there are inner you it there? Which part you think the love and the harmony and the peace we all are we are searching? Which part you think it that inner you? So just like how America look for enemies outside of them, when them look, them see it inside of them. So you have to confront the enemy within. You have to confront the devil within. There's no human devil. There's no human form. There is no human form. That is the devil. The only human that form in the devil is the mind of human beings constructing good and constructing bad in order to maintain whether good or bad in the environment that they live in. Our perception is defined by where we are from and where we are and how we perceive and construct things in the environment. So we either draw from other people or we look into our minds and brains and evaluate for ourselves what is what and what is not without just sucking everything where people say to you or where people don't want to say to you. So when you hear about devil, you start to say everybody a devil and everybody a Satan and all them things, and people who don't follow where you are say, you say them a pagan, them a heathen, them a devil, them a this, that, all sort of thing. We'll try to find the documentary and we'll find the documentary. So listen and listen well to the story that this documentary have to tell. Wait there. Okay? We'll wait for it out. Oh, go on, so. All right.
Lucifer, Beelzebub, the beast, Satan.
Hail, Satan.
When you say Satan to me, I think God.
He has been called many names. He has taken many strange and different forms. The idea of God's evil enemy has been around for thousands of years. And it's still as powerful as ever.
Evil is real, and it must be opposed.
But where did Satan's story begin? Where did he come from? And how did he become the Prince of Darkness? More than 3,000 years ago, in the deserts and pasturelands of the Middle East, unknown hands wrote the earliest chapters of the Hebrew Bible. If the devil had a birthplace, surely it was here, somewhere in the book known to Christians as the Old Testament. In the oldest books of the Bible, a character called Satan does appear, but he's nothing like the Satan we imagine.
When we read the Old Testament, we find that from time to time there is this strange dark figure who pops up called the Satan. The word the Satan is actually a title. The word means the accuser. And to begin with, it seems that the Satan is one of the angels or attendants in the heavenly court, one of God's servants who, in a sense, had to do some of the dirty work.
This Satan has no power of his own. He does only what God tells him. Nor is he a horrible creature with horns and a tail.
There's no kind of prince of darkness, somebody who's standing opposite to God. Throughout most of the text, there's no concept at all of an evil force.
One of Satan's earliest appearances is as an angel in the book of Job. In one of the best-known stories in the Bible, Satan argues that Job, one of God's most loyal servants, is only pious because he has a good life. God agrees that Satan can test Job by inflicting on him all kinds of diseases and calamities. In the end, in spite of dreadful sufferings, Job continues to worship God, and Satan loses the argument. The Satan who makes Job's life a misery isn't a demon or even a bad angel. And he doesn't live in hell.
There wasn't any kind of concept of a hell like we have, a place of fiery torment and torture. In fact, to the ancient Israelites, what happened when he died was really very little. He went to a place called Sheol, and this was just a sort of dark, shadowy place, a sort of underworld, where everybody who died went, irrespective of whether you were good or bad.
So where is the Satan we know? Where's the fiend who's eternally at war with the forces of good? The monster who rules over the flames of hell and punishes sinners? Where is the fallen angel with his legions of demon helpers, tempting humans to do evil things so that he can win their souls? If the traditional devil doesn't come from the Jewish Old Testament, where does he come from? Since human history began, people all over the world have believed in demons and evil spirits. A few share some traits with our devil, like horns or a beard, but none are as powerful as Satan. So where did people first get the idea of an ultimate evil being? 3,500 years ago, in ancient Persia, where Syria, Iraq, and Iran are now, there were many gods, good and evil, until one man, a religious teacher called Zoroaster, reduced the whole complicated cast of characters to two.
Zoroaster is a revolutionary, primarily because he, in one sense, personifies these ethical categories into a good god, Ahura Mazda, and a bad god, Ahriman. And this is an extremely potent idea, and one which forms the basis for later conceptions of dualistic thought. In other words, the separation between good and evil.
The good god is the all-knowing Ahura Mazda, the god of light and order. The evil god is Ahriman, god of chaos, darkness, and lies. In Zoroaster's teachings, the universe is a battlefield between the gods of good and evil, and every person on earth must take sides. After death, good people are rewarded in heaven, while sinners are punished in a dark and gloomy hell.
It is one of those ultimate, rather attractive kinds of dualism, that this life is a struggle between good and evil, therefore choose good, between light and darkness, therefore choose light.
Under the powerful Persian emperor Darius the Great, the teachings of Zoroaster become the official religion of the Persian Empire, an empire which includes the lands of Israel. The new Persian ideas about good and evil soon find their way into the Jewish scriptures.
So we get a clear demarcation of what we would call Jewish ideas, okay, and we can spot the Zoroastrian ideas in the Old Testament. They are there, notions of heaven and hell, okay. The beginning of actually seeing the devil personified as the fierce opponent of God.
As the Persian Empire in turn is defeated by Alexander the Great, Greek culture comes to ancient Israel. The Greeks introduce a huge cast of gods and goddesses, including one who will shape our image of Satan for centuries. Hades has a black face or black beard. He sits on a throne, often made of ebony, and he wields a two-pronged fork, not for prodding sinners, but for blasting things to bits.
To the classical Greeks, the underworld was ruled by Hades, who was the god of the dead.
He was one of the Olympian gods, but he seems to have spent most of his time in this dark, shadowy underworld, which is also called Hades. Now, he wasn't a very nice character. He seems to have been very morbid and morose, and nobody really liked him. None of the gods liked him, and certainly no humans liked him.
Hades wasn't very likable, but he wasn't evil either. In fact, the ancient Greeks see Hades as a god of justice. They believe that when people die, they go to Hades, and he decides whether they go to a place of happiness or a place of misery. As ruler of the world underground, Hades is also the god of wealth and abundance. In a dim memory of Hades, people have believed for centuries that the devil can make you rich. As well as the brooding character of Hades, the Greeks give the world another familiar ingredient of the devil's story. In a famous myth, Zeus, the greatest of the gods, defeats the winged serpent Typhon and throws him down to Tartarus, the lowest region of the underworld. Over the following centuries, the myth grows into the story of how the angel Satan rebels against God and is thrown out of heaven with all his followers. Satan's allies, the fallen angels, become his legion of demons. When we think of hell, we think of fire, lava, and sinners being horribly tortured. But where did this picture come from? The underworld of Hades doesn't have fire, but ancient Jerusalem does.
When we read the Gospels, we come upon Jesus warning people that there is this dangerous fate that might await them, and it's called Gehenna, which was the old smouldering rubbish heap in ancient Jerusalem.
And because of the stink of the place and because there was so much in the way of rubbish, periodically it would set fire to, and the fires there would burn for several days, if not weeks.
Gehenna was the place where the Jerusalem authorities burned the bodies of executed criminals. Over time, the place came to stand for something supernatural, a spiritual fate that would await the wicked at the end of time. Gehenna was the inspiration for the terrors of hell. By the time the Christian Gospels are written, towards the end of the 1st century AD, Satan has grown into a powerful figure. By now, Jewish lands are ruled by the mighty Roman Empire. It was a time when the Romans were hated bitterly. To many Jews and Christians persecuted by Rome, Satan is the evil force behind Caesar's throne. In the New Testament book of Revelation, the writer gives Satan one of his most mysterious names, the Beast, 666. The Beast could refer to the Roman Emperor himself.
The author of Revelation says that the beast has a human number and it's 666. Now this has traditionally been seen as a reference to the Emperor Nero, and that's because if you take Nero Caesar in Aramaic and count up the numerical values of those letters, it comes to 666.
The book of Revelation says that the devil was sent down by God into the abyss, where he will be locked up for 1,000 years. When he gets out, the end of the world will come. An apocalyptic battle will take place as good and evil fight it out to the end.
Satan will be let loose and will put up a final attempt to rule the world.
This is kind of the dragon of chaos back again. This is evil opposed to God. So it's drawing on very, very ancient cosmological speculation, not so much from Judaism itself, but from the surrounding areas, particularly the Persians.
So what does the devil look like at the dawn of the Christian era? Often he's got black skin and hair, like Hades, ruler of the underworld. His wings echo the story that he was once an angel, although they look more like the wings of a dragon. For thousands of years, the dragon was the symbol of an evil force. And it's from the dragon that Satan inherits his taloned feet. When Satan isn't being a dragon, he's a snake. The serpent, said to have tempted Eve in the Garden of Eden, has long been believed to represent the devil, although the scriptures don't actually say so. In fact, Christian leaders disagree, sometimes violently, about what the devil is like. But one thing they do agree on: he is busy working with and through their enemies. 4 centuries after Christ, a Roman emperor, Constantine the Great, converts to Christianity. Within a generation, the once persecuted religion is the official creed of the mightiest empire on earth. Christian bishops now have real power, backed up by the state, and they use Satan to help them keep it. Again and again, church leaders claim that those who disagree with them, especially other Christian groups, are working for the devil.
As Constantine made it the state religion and the state church and an established religion, what Constantine and his immediate successors found hardest to put up with was heresy.
Catholic theologians would have said that because heretics didn't believe the correct Catholic faith, they must be worshipping the evil one instead, God's enemy.
The logic is relentless. It's us and them. If you're not with the church and the empire, you're with Satan. It's a short step for the church to demand that heretics be put to death. The first executions come 450 years after Christ. Over the following centuries, the numbers of people killed for supposedly working for Satan grows to many tens, possibly hundreds of thousands. Under the protection of the Roman Empire, the Christian religion grows quickly. But the bishops worry that the pagan gods are far too popular. Thousands of Romans still pray to the winged goddess Fortuna, the bringer of luck. But the most popular pagan god of all is Pan. Christian leaders see him as a serious threat who must be discredited.
Let's think of the case of Pan and in Arcadia, and he becomes a sort of demon, whereas he was actually a very benign god of music and happiness and lovemaking and altogether to be admired, but becomes a goat-legged demon, a satire, in the later Christianized versions of it.
Satan now adopts Pan's best-known features. He becomes an ugly, leering beast with horns on his head. His body is hairy, and he has Pan's cloven hooves, although sometimes he keeps the taloned feet of the ancient dragon. So outlandish has he become that he often has a second face on his belly. One of the greatest thinkers of the early Christian church is St. Augustine. Augustine is keen to show that the old nature gods are dangerous demons. According to Augustine, male demons called incubi appear to women at night and seduce them. Even more disturbing for Augustine, saintly men could be visited in their beds by female demons called succubi and forced to do sinful things against their will.
When, during the long dark hours, their frustrated minds produced all sorts of sexual visions and erotic pictures, and they had to expel these from their minds. And thought, well, how on earth could this have come into my pious, celibate mind? It isn't me. This is an entity. This is something downright evil.
Okay. We're going to continue this.
Middle Ages, after 1,000 years of Christian teaching, the church has persuaded its followers that the devil and his demons are real and that Satan is a powerful enemy. The problem is that some Christians take the idea a lot further than the bishops want.
Some branches of Christianity did see the world itself as created not so much by Satan but by a lesser evil god, and so for them, of course, everything to do with the world, with matter, with human flesh was seen in negative terms.
We do find the emergence of something called Gnosticism. Gnostic Christians carried with them this very clear notion of a good God and a bad God.
There's the good God who created everything spiritual, and there's the evil God who created everything physical, which means that everything that you can see or touch or sense with any of the five senses is actually coming from the evil God.
One group which is taking enthusiastically to the Gnostic idea of good and evil is the Cathars of southern France. To the Cathars, all material possessions are evil and belong to the devil. For a church now wealthy and powerful, this is an uncomfortable, even dangerous teaching.
The common people loved and admired them, called them les bonhommes, because they were healers. When the Cathars went around doing good, as they most certainly did, feeding the poor and healing the sick, so they were teaching people to avoid marriage, to avoid procreation, because all you will do if you have a family is to bring that new child into this decadent, evil, physical world where we should all be concentrating on spirituality.
If you were Catharist, then you were actually in league with Satan.
Pope Innocent III announced a crusade against the Cathars. He tried to convert them back to Catholicism. That hadn't worked. The only thing he could do now was kill them.
The crusade against the Cathars, launched in 1209, turns into a brutal 45-year war. At least 100,000 people die, partly for saying that Satan is even more powerful than the Church says he is. The crusade against the Cathars is against fellow Christians, but for almost 2 centuries, the Crusades are mostly about fighting Islam for control of the Middle East. In medieval Europe, Islam is seen as a heresy, the work of the devil. Muslims too are quick to claim their enemies are in league with the evil one. In the Quran, Muslims are instructed to fight against non-Muslims because they are friends of Satan. Both sides, inheriting the ancient beliefs of the Persians, see the world as divided into good and evil, justifying all the horrors of war and conquest. The Crusades leave a sinister legacy. In the middle of the campaign, Pope Gregory IX founds the Inquisition. Controlled by the Dominican Order of Friars, the Inquisition's job is to find heretics and hand them over to local princes for punishment.
The Inquisition gave people plenty to be frightened of. It gave them the fires of hell to be frightened of, and it gave them, in a more immediate sense, the Inquisition itself.
They had the right to arrest that person without telling them who'd accused them, or indeed what they were accused of.
The accused are guilty until found innocent, and can be held for as long as the authorities want. Anyone who questions the Inquisition is immediately suspected of being in league with the devil. In the fight against Satan and the powers of evil, medieval rulers believed that, as in any war, information is vital. Up till now, the Church has not officially allowed Christians to be tortured, although torturing Jews and Muslims is acceptable. But in May 1252, Pope Innocent IV rules that Christians suspected of heresy can be tortured until they confess they are working for the devil and inform on co-conspirators.
Once you've set up a debate that defines somebody as a Satanist, as a servant of Satan, then you have put them in a position where you can do what you want to them because you are justified by working for the forces of good.
Generally, once somebody had been accused of heresy, there was no way they could clear themselves. No matter what they said, because they were a heretic, therefore in league with the devil, therefore anything they said was like to be a lie.
But the torturers can't do whatever they please. They are supposed to follow strict guidelines.
In theory, and according to Pope Innocent IV in the middle of the 13th century, torture should be limited, it should not draw blood, it should not lead to serious permanent damage to the person who's being tortured. In practice, these regulations are not always followed.
But there's also something which the psychologists would refer to as a rationalization process, that it could all be very well for them to say, oh yes, we are trying to save your immortal soul, we're trying to keep you out of hell, we're trying to prevent the devil from getting you, and what they really mean is, we rather fancy your farm.
All over Europe, the new powers, supposed to be used against Satan, are used by the unscrupulous to seize wealth or to do down their enemies. In 1307, King Philip the Fair of France brings witchcraft charges against the leaders of the Knights Templar, the fabulously wealthy order of crusaders. Philip accuses the Templars of worshipping a pagan idol called Baphomet, a supposedly satanic figure.
The Templars have been involved in the Middle East in negotiations with Muslims, and some people in Western Europe thought they had been in league with the Muslims, and because the Muslims, everybody knew, in inverted commas, were involved in magic, there is therefore a hint that perhaps the Templars were involved in magic too.
They were attacked and largely destroyed on Friday the 13th of October in 1307, sealed orders given by Philip le Bel to his seneschals to attack every Templar stronghold simultaneously.
Ever since the purge of the Templars, Friday the 13th has been seen as an unlucky day, somehow connected with satanic forces. In 1320, the war against Satan is wound up another notch. Pope John the 22nd orders the Inquisition to target any kind of witchcraft, sorcery, or necromancy. A big worry is that unscrupulous priests who know how to drive out devils with the rites of exorcism might instead use exorcism to invite the devil in.
Formulas, Latin formulas and rituals which can be used to command the demon. Now, once you've got a Latin formula that has power to command a demon, I could use that to command a demon to do my washing up, you know? I could use that power to command a demon to get this woman I fancy into bed. The necromancers are interested in using the formulae of exorcism to command demons to do other things that they are interested in. You know, a demon could make me rich. A demon could find some hidden treasure for me.
Fear that necromancers and witches are all around, conjuring up demons and making pacts with the devil, sweeps across Europe. One of the first cases investigated by the Inquisition is in the Irish city of Kilkenny. In 1324, in a dispute over inheritance, one of the richest women in the town, Dame Alice Catala, is accused of witchcraft, heresy, and of having a demon lover called Robin.
Alice Catala, a landowner in Kilkenny who had several husbands, so had stepchildren brought a charge against her that she'd poisoned her previous husbands in order to obtain the land. And she poisoned or killed them otherwise through witchcraft.
Alice manages to escape to England. Her unfortunate servant, Petronella, is tortured and burned at the stake. The campaign against necromancers, sorcerers, and witches lasts 300 years and kills between 60,000 and 300,000 people. The vast majority of the victims are women.
Women were thought of as being more prone to the devil, more likely to sin, more likely to be led astray. They were also thought to be less intellectual than men.
Women were seen as closer to animals. And part of this was that they were more susceptible to temptation, that they were more easily seduced by material gratification.
As the Inquisition goes about its grisly business, rounding up suspects and interrogating them, many clerics and lay people worry that it's all guesswork. Perhaps they're missing even more witches than they're finding. But how can you tell who is one of Satan's helpers? What you need is a standard test. In 1486, 2 German Dominican monks publish a textbook for inquisitors called Malleus Maleficarum, the Hammer of Witches. The book contains a clever catch-22. Not only is witchcraft heresy, not believing in witches is heresy as well.
The Malleus Maleficarum was the manual, the how to get rid of all these demonic fleas that had infested a human being.
It was a book of what witches were, what witches did.
Malleus Maleficarum tells the inquisitor everything he needs to know. Witches have the mark of Satan on their bodies, a birthmark or a wart. They can fly by rubbing magical herbs on their skin, and they gather at Satan-worshipping ceremonies called Sabbaths. At these, they celebrate a twisted version of the Christian Mass, kissing the devil's rear end in a blasphemous act of homage.
Certainly there was a fear at that time, which was why Malleus Maleficarum sold so many copies and ran through so many editions and is still in print. "30 years after Malleus Maleficarum was written, Martin Luther leads the Protestant Reformation, splitting the Christian Church in 2. Each faction, Protestant and Catholic, claims the other is in league with the evil one. Both sides use Malleus Maleficarum to find Satanists, and not just in order to destroy them. Witch hunting is a kind of scientific quest. The idea is, if you can understand witches and the devil, you can fight them.
The whole business of witch hunting is almost a sort of intellectual research project. I need to gather a bit more data about, what demons do. So I'm going to interrogate a few more witches to get a bit more data, and then I'm going to write it up in my book. The cutting edge of scientific inquiry.
Right across Europe, hysteria about Satan sweeps Protestant and Catholic countries alike. In Scotland, James VI, one of the best educated kings in Europe, is so caught up in the craze, he writes a book about the devil and witchcraft. Called Demonology, James' book sets out to prove that Satan-worshipping witches are everywhere, and that they are the gravest threat to the security of the state.
He surrounded himself with advisors, and mainly religious advisors, who would protect him from the demons that he feared so much. He saw it everywhere.
Well, James was certainly quite militant about this. He thought he was fighting a war.
Even as James leads the fight against the devil and the forces of evil, the devil is helping James to keep his crown. James can always point to the figure of Satan and say, if it weren't for me, look who would be ruling in my place.
Although this is quite frightening, it's also in a way quite gratifying for James. One of the witches who was interrogated was asked, why is the devil attacking our king? And the witch who was confessing allegedly answered, this is what was recorded anyway in her confession, the devil is doing this because King James is the greatest enemy that the devil has in the world.
When the New World of the Americas is colonized by Europeans, the devil travels with them. The Puritan colonists who arrived from England in the late 1600s are strong believers in the power of Satan. They're convinced that everyone who isn't a Puritan is controlled by the devil, and that women are especially susceptible to Satan's powers.
They had established what might be called Puritan communities, and were looking to build a great example for the rest of Christendom.
if you were enjoying yourself, or if a group of you were singing or dancing or having a drink, then those who were opposed to that kind of fun were quite certain that Satan was filling the glasses for you.
In 1688 in Boston, an Irish laundrywoman called Mary Glover is accused of bewitching the children of one of her customers. Proof of her pact with the devil includes several rag dolls found in her house.
Mary Glover was Irish and a servant. Her first language was Gaelic, and one of the tests to prove that you weren't a witch was to speak the Lord's Prayer. The linguistic difficulties meant that she couldn't speak the Lord's Prayer without, as they saw it, blaspheming. She was hanged as a witch in 1688.
Three years after Mary Glover is hanged, less than 20 miles away at Salem, Massachusetts, the testimony of three young girls leads to a mass execution.
Some of the children were said to be possessed by spirits sent from the witches. And so when they were standing witness, they were performing being possessed.
In the Salem witch hunt, 150 people are arrested. 19 men and women are hung or crushed to death. 17 others die in prison. In an ironic twist to the story, the Salem jury later apologized, blaming the devil for their mistake.
Yeah, I tell you, this thing is very interesting, you know, say. I listen to it quite a few times, and I tell you, well, I really want to find a documentary in the night, to just match to where I go on with the different religion, them and this and that. And this is the perfect one. The issue of Satan, the devil. That is what it named, the issue of Satan, the devil. Very, very, as it connects to now, it's a very interesting thing.
Apologize, blaming the devil for their mistake. By the 1700s, the witch craze in America and Europe is almost over. A new, more scientific view of the world is gaining ground.
Modernism, as the project that we get from the 18th century Enlightenment, actually banished religion, superstition, and all of that, and just said that that belongs to the Dark Ages. We're now in the modern world. We believe in facts. We believe in science. And if you want to be religious, that's a private option which you can go and practice somewhere else.
Although the witch hunts have ended, and the educated classes of Europe and America even start to question whether the devil exists, in the folk tales of ordinary people, Satan lives on. But he's very different from the formidable and terrifying devil of the witch-finders.
One of my own favourites is that of Dunstan, who was a very powerful blacksmith. The devil arrives and asks to have his shoes replaced.
And he simply gets hold of his nose with two red-hot tongs and throws him out. And that is a very, very different devil. That's a devil that you can put in his place.
By now, the devil has shed some of his ugliness and crude habits. In fact, he's often a member of the decadent aristocracy. He's a handsome gentleman dressed in fine clothes and mixing in fashionable company. Like Hades, the Greek god of the underworld, and the Satan of the ancient Gnostic heresies, this Satan controls the material world of wealth, power, and sex. He can give all these things to you if you promise him your soul. The most famous of all devil folk tales is the story of Faust. The devil, in the form of the clever and devious Mephistopheles, offers to grant Faust all his wishes. But there's a price.
One of the things that many necromancers or people using necromantic spells are interested in is how to get women into bed. Faust is very interested in that, and he gets all kinds of women, including Helen of Troy.
Faust's bargain with the devil ends in disaster for Faust. Mephistopheles calls in his debt, and Faust dies horribly. The devil takes him away to spend eternity in hell. As the power of religion fades, and the age of popes and kings gives way to the age of revolution and democracy, a new devil arrives on the scene. This devil is utterly different from the treacherous fiend of Christian tradition. He is a tragic and lonely figure, a hero battling against tyrannical authority in the shape of a cruel and overbearing god. Satan is now a brave and handsome rebel.
And so you get the kind of romantic view of Satan as not really a villain or an evil person at all, but the opposite of that. Satan is a good guy who's challenging the boss.
In the age of Romanticism, we find the poets, particularly like Byron, creating a Byronic hero who is somehow dark and sinister and has a past. And so, far from being something to shun and something to fear, the devil is admired.
With the 20th century, the devil's fortunes take a turn for the worse. No longer feared or admired, he becomes a figure of fun. He even joins the world of commerce, helping to sell products from wine to chocolates and beer. In the age of marketing and the consumer society, Satan can bring the lure of the forbidden to a tired brand. It's a long way from an apocalyptic war between good and evil.
It has been a hallmark of the 20th century for the devil to be treated as a figure of fun. We find the devil is neither better nor worse than the people he's dealing with, and he's just a man among men.
Satan seems to have been cut down to size. The Prince of Darkness has become a mischievous imp. But in a surprising twist, a different Satan, the glamorous rebel so admired by the revolutionaries of the 19th century, makes a startling comeback in the 1960s.
There was a strong sense of rebellion against everything that anointed the Western political power structure. And it was Christian, it was capitalist, it was warmongering. And so the counterculture started exploring anything that was counter to that.
In 1966, occult showman Anton LaVey founds the Church of Satan in San Francisco. Part religion, part money-making racket, the Church of Satan attracts lurid headlines, mostly encouraged by the publicity-seeking LaVey himself.
We believe in greed, we believe in selfishness, we believe in all of the lustful thoughts that motivate man, because this is man's natural feeling.
He called himself Anton Sander LaVey of Romanian descent, but the truth of the matter is he was Howard Stanton Levy, who was born in Cook County, Illinois in 1930. He held these weekend lectures and witch circles in his house, and people would come in and pay their $2 a head. Well, finally, he had this friend, it was a publicist, who said, you know, I have an idea. Why don't you turn this thing into a church? You could make a bundle of money. And, of course, that's what he did.
He has been called everything from a carny to a manipulator to a brilliant philosopher. The truth lies somewhere in the middle.
There were doctors, lawyers, college students, factory workers, farmers, you name it. They came from all levels of society.
In spite of the invented rituals, mostly staged for the cameras, neither LaVey nor his followers believe in a real devil. What LaVey admires is Satan the rebel, the nonconformist, provoking the establishment. Predictably, America is fascinated and outraged. In 1967, the 60s fascination with the occult, spearheaded by LaVey's Church of Satan, gets a powerful boost from Hollywood. The film Rosemary's Baby, a dark tale of devil worshippers in Manhattan, is a massive and unexpected hit. In Roman Polanski's masterpiece, the heroine's innocuous neighbors are part of a satanic conspiracy to help the Prince of Darkness father a child who will rule the world. In Rosemary's Baby, Satan triumphs in the end. But the Christian backlash to the story comes in the 1973 blockbuster The Exorcist. This time, the devil, who has possessed a young girl, is defeated by the forces of good in the shape of two priests. The Exorcist. The old belief that women are especially susceptible to satanic influence is revived 2 centuries after the Salem witch trials.
We would be seriously in error if we were to underestimate the power of Hollywood. I think the biggest impact was probably around the time of The Exorcist.
I know many people I've talked to about the movie, especially those raised in a Christian household, who are very frightened by it, very upset. It's the war between good and evil, but evil is in a whole new dimension, and it's very personal.
It made being possessed almost fashionable. That the numbers of people who were seen to be possessed just took off.
I've been invited to exorcise people who were convinced they had a demon, and you will get people who put them through it. And it can be very violent and very dramatic and very expressive, but it can really flip someone into serious, serious ill health.
Hollywood's discovery that fortunes can be made with stories of possession and devil worship stokes the fires of a paranoia that has lain dormant since the days of the witch trials. In the 1980s, stories about a vast conspiracy of organized Satanists sweep the media. Known as the Satanic Panic, Christian groups allege mass satanic abuse of children and tens of thousands of kidnappings.
Part of the Satanic Panic started with accusations of satanic ritual abuse. Groups of people who declared themselves as Satanists were believed to be taking people and children and damaging them.
There were all kinds of dark suggestions about children disappearing and about child sacrifice and ritual murder.
Although hundreds of people are arrested and imprisoned, when the FBI finally launches a full-scale investigation in the United States, it concludes that the satanic abuse allegations are all groundless.
One of the horrifying things about human nature is that it lends itself to hysteria. You get it in all periods of history. I think you get it much more virulently nowadays because one of the most potent instruments for spreading hysteria is the modern telecommunications industry.
If members of satanic religions mostly don't believe in a supernatural devil and don't pray to Satan, what does the devil represent? Some Satanists claim the devil stands for a spirit of change.
A lot of people are frightened by the term Satanism. A lot of people automatically think that Satanists are bad people. They should be no more scared of a Satanist than they should be scared of anyone else they meet.
You know, what Satanism means to me is opposition and balance. Alternative thought, playing the devil's advocate. There is no good and evil. I mean, to a mouse, a cat is this horrible evil thing with fangs. But to the pet owner, the cat is heavenly. We create our own reality. That's the whole idea behind Satanism.
In the United States, surveys show that almost half of Americans believe the devil is real. Even non-religious people instinctively divide the world into good and evil. the opposing principles taught by Zoroaster to the ancient Persians. If anything, recent events have made that belief even stronger. In September 2001, the massive terrorist attacks on the United States, which destroyed the World Trade Center, shocked America to its core. To many, it seemed as if sinister forces had gone on the offensive. It was easy to believe that this was a showdown between the forces of good and evil. To the US government and a large section of American opinion, the attacks were about much more than politics.
We've come to know truths that we will never question. Evil is real, and it must be opposed.
You're either with us or you're against us. And if you're against us, by and large, you're going to be working hand in hand with Satan.
It was Reagan that talked about the evil empire. Bush talks about the axis of evil. It's classic, ancient, dualistic thinking.
In the wake of the 9/11 attacks, President Bush gave the job of catching Osama bin Laden, the man responsible for the atrocity, to Lieutenant General William G. Boykin. But according to Boykin, America's real foe isn't bin Laden. In the general's words, the enemy of the US is a guy called Satan. Since 2001, the draconian measures taken by the US and other governments in the war on terror are uncannily like those of the war on Satan of 400 years ago. Imprisonment without trial, secret hearings, anonymous tip-offs, and torture.
We are seeing a similar willingness to justify mistreatment, to justify the removal of rights, the justifiable use of torture against the perceived enemy in the war against terrorism.
If you're fighting a war against evil, what begins to happen, I think, is that you end up by turning into the evil that you're fighting.
Controversially, President Bush called the invasion of Iraq a crusade. The similarities with the historic crusades against heretics are striking. They include a belief on the battlefield that the enemy are not just military opponents, but agents of pure evil. In November 2004, as US forces launch a massive attack on the Iraqi city of Fallujah, a senior Marine officer, Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Brandle, makes clear who he thinks the enemy is.
The enemy has got a face. He's called Satan, and he's in Fallujah. We're going to destroy it.
It's embroidery, it's myth-making, it's poetry. It can be good fun, except that it has produced great evils. A human invention, but one that's rebounded on us because it's given us permission to do terrible things to each other, which is why I think that we should close hell down and finally banish the devil and get rid of him.
REFM, thought-provoking, always smoking, lyrics like a bazooka. You are listening to Mutabaruka.
Yes, that was a documentary tying in all the things that we was talking about, and even the events of today, linking how the religious belief, people fighting evil sometimes become evil themselves. And we can see that. We can see that in the bombing of innocent people.
You're listening to the
families and children where
please like, comment,
America,
share
Obama sent drone over Yemen and over Afghanistan and Pakistan and kill women and children as collateral damage. We can say ISIL blowing up marketplaces with suicide bombers. beheadings, drownings. So them fighting evil. All of them. The drone strike them in Afghanistan is fighting evil. The beheadings in Assyria is fighting evil. The attack on Iraq, as you heard the man say a while ago, is fighting evil. All of them fighting evil. And in fighting evil, they themselves become evil. A weird thing. Yeah, so the thing with it is that a whole lot of people afraid for doubt, you know. When them find themselves in a doubt situation, them get confused and perplexed. But you know, sometimes when you doubt, is that time the search for understanding and knowledge trip in. Because it's through the doubtfulness why you're going to really examine.
So it's a good thing.
In this Western world, yeah, them put a thing by the name fear. The fear factor is what grab way. The fear factor is what make we don't use our brains. And the whole of we have our brains, but our brains become docile when it comes on to religion and, to a little extent, politics. Our brains get numbed when it reaches so we don't want to think. Because somebody did done things for we and put it in our thinking already. And we don't want to go against the grain. Because if we go against the grain, something going to be named fear. Fear is a big, big problem, especially amongst black people. Fear. We fear so much that we hide from ourselves many times. So Pope John Paul did declare that heaven and hell is not a physical place. Yes, the Pope did say that. Heaven and hell is not a physical place. So if the Pope, who for him legacies and legacy, did come telling us say heaven in the sky and hell under the earth. And then now them come change it up and tell you say heaven and hell is not physical.